I'm only taking one step at a time towards healing myself. I had to get out, I found a way out. No more living in pain or misery. It's all about protecting my energy. Keep the negative away from me, because I am just keeping my peace. Cut off everything that no longer was serving me, and I chose to start loving myself. I walk in my purpose, no looking back, I'm only going within. B.O. standing there, a better version of me. I must say that I'm proud of me. It's not about how you feel, I'm living proof that God is real. So let me show you how to heal. Damn it, I'm wearing it well, cause I came a long way. My journey isn't yet complete, that's what it look like to heal. Damn it, I'm wearing it well, I'm proud of myself. It's nothing to it, you can do it, all you gotta do is just fight through it. Create a soul, create a soul, create a soul. Just fight through it. Create a soul, create a soul, create a soul, create a soul, yeah, yeah.
Welcome to Pain to Purpose podcast, where we have open discussions to heal together as a community. Today is episode 9, and we are talking about deliverance from addiction. Our special guest is Chanel Caldwell. Welcome, Ms. Caldwell.
Hello. Nice meeting you. Nice being here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming on and share your testimony. We really appreciate it on Pain to Purpose. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. So I am a wife of 15 years. I'm a mother of 3 children, and I'm also a life and love transformation coach and also a quantum healing guide. So I do help women to heal the pain that they've been suffering and also to learn how to attract healthy, loving, and committed relationships and stop dealing with the mess, girl.
All right. So let's get right on into it with this testimony.
All right.
So the floor is yours.
Sure. So, I think I'll start I guess maybe in high school. I grew up in a single mother home, of course, and she worked a lot, which, I love. And I'm so appreciative to all our single moms, right, that just work really hard. And I think us kids, especially ones like born in the 80s and stuff, a lot of us were latchkey kids. We got the key, we walked home, like we spent a lot of time alone. And I didn't realize that there was a disconnection between my father and I, and also my mom and I felt really lonely because I was an only child. And so I didn't realize how much it meant to me to have certain friendships. Like that was a big thing for me.
Okay.
And so there was still a hole missing though. Every time I would go out into the world, I just felt like a little bit less than, a little bit smaller, just than everyone else. And I think when I was 12 or 13, I started drinking. I was hanging out with people who were drinking already, to the point where we're in high school, we're drinking at school, we're drinking at games. Drinking became a part of my life almost every day. And then I went to college and, we brought it to college, right? So now we're drinking. First it was just 2 nights a week, and then it was 3 nights a week. But I just remember my mom always telling me I don't care what you do. And just, you have to pause it here. I'm so sorry. Can I,
1 second.
So I found myself drinking often. We were partying all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember just having all of these negative relationships over and over again. I found myself with men who were just not appreciating me, or I would find emotionally unavailable men all the time. And it would just be like a recurring theme in my life. And I started to feel like, I started to feel some type of way, where it's like, man, why can't I meet a man that just really sees me? It's like I'm not finding that. And I found that I was leading with my body a lot, especially in college, partying and stuff.
Mhm.
And I finally, I remember this one boyfriend that I had. He was just wreaked havoc in my life, really just tore me apart emotionally. And I remember leaving him, and I got my life back together as always. And I had my own apartment. I was fine. And this other man just found his way into my life this time, and he slithered his way in. He lied about why he was there. It was just a lot. And I found out he was cheating. I left for a weekend one time, and I came home and I found like a condom wrapper on my bedroom, on the floor in my bedroom next to my bed. Right.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, first off, I left my room a mess because I was just leaving really quick. So you had somebody in my messy room, right? And doing that in my bed. And so I'm thinking, if he was in here and he always hang out with his boys, then his boy was in there doing it with another woman, right? So I go in the kitchen, I dig through the trash can, and I found another one in the kitchen trash can. And I read the serial number, same box. I'm like, oh, so I know they were like tag teaming up in here, and I was just disgusted, right?
Wait a minute, girl. So I ain't never thought about to look at the serial number.
Yes, ma'am. He can't lie and say they were his boys' condoms because they came from the same box, sir.
You're the first person literally that I've heard that talked about the serial. Okay. All
I
right. Go
did. I did. I did. And then I looked on my computer, and he had like didn't log out of MySpace back in the day, right? And so his MySpace messages pulled up, and like this man was begging women, like Caucasian women, for sex for the whole week I was gone. He was just thirsty in like in the DMs. It was so embarrassing.
Wow.
So embarrassing. And then I went outside, and my neighbor, I'm looking by the pool, and it's all like destroyed. And my old white neighbor comes out, and she's like, your friends ruined the pool. And I'm thinking, how you know they're my friends? And she's like, they were yelling the N word. And it was like this elderly community. So I'm like, oh my gosh. So I'm thinking, this lady's just racist. She'll know what she's talking about. Right. And then I look in my mailbox, and it's like, you need to move out in 30 days. Like your neighbors, your guests were doing the pool. Gotta get. I'm like, oh my gosh. And the night I had met him, I actually got fired from my job because they wanted me to skip my college graduation because they wanted me to work. And I'm like, I worked for 6 years to get this degree. I'm not missing my graduation. So I just lost
Right.
my job. So at this point, I am without a job, without a man, and I'm losing my place. I have like 30 days. And then I get a DUI, and I had to go to DUI classes. And at first we were laughing about like how high our blood alcohol was. It's like, I got 0.27, and how'd you get? Like, oh, it was like stupid. And the more we were in there, the more we realized like, damn, why aren't our friends here? Why did we drink so much? We all do kind of have stuff in our past, like we might have a little problem here, like with drinking. And so I kind of already had an idea that was an issue. So at this point, I tell the guy he's got to go, and I look myself in the mirror, and I said, you know how we say there's like F boys out there, right? And I looked at myself in the mirror, and I'm like, I'm thinking like you might be an F girl. Like I think that, how are you expecting these men to treat you like a queen when you don't even treat yourself like that? And then it's like, how do you say you want a certain type of man? Because if that certain type of man came in your life, would he even be interested in you? Like the way you're presenting right now, just a mess? Like, no. And so I realized I needed to come into alignment with the things I said I wanted and the way I was moving, like in real life. And so I did. I stopped drinking as much. And it's like I started making changes in my mind, or like trying to heal myself. And I was reading all these different books and all these things. And I remember I looked in a paper, and it said like an old job that I had was hiring. So I'm like, I'm going to get a job on that day. And my mom was like, well, are you going to look for other jobs? I'm like, no, I don't need to. Because in my life, God has always taken care of me. And I've always, anytime I just felt it, and I knew that he was going to take care of me. So I didn't really fear anything. I knew I was going to get a job on that day. So I said it. I didn't worry about it. And then my friend's like, girl, I think I might have something going on for like you to live, but I'll let you know. So I'm like, all right. So I go to the job fair on that day, and my old job is like, apply online. And I was like, oh, dang, But the job next to them was like, you can come apply over here. And so I'm like, okay. So I apply. They like what they see. And then they're like, just do the interview real quick. I'm like, okay. So I do it. I'm driving home and they offer me the job on the way home. I'm like,
Oh,
yes.
wow.
Then my friend calls and she goes, girl, you can stay at my place. My roommate moved out. Like, you can stay here. I'm like, yes, I got a place.
So
And
God was
then
just working it out behind the scenes and you didn't even know.
every step of the way, and I loved it. Then I get to her place and I realize my new job is walking distance to her house. So I'm literally able to walk to, you know, work. And within a month, I think it was maybe within a month of moving in with her, I walked past my husband in the walkway, and we locked eyes. I remember that moment. And he just started treating me different than anybody else. He started showing me that I was valuable, I was valued, he was taking care of me. I'm like, I think I met my husband, Mom. And within 6 months, we were engaged. Within 1 year, we were married, and I was pregnant on my honeymoon. And it's like I had been actually asking God to have a family and a husband by the
Mhm.
time I was 24, since I was 14 years old. And when I was 23, I'm
Since you were
thinking,
14?
since I was 14, I knew I wanted that.
Mhm.
And so at 23, I'm thinking that's like, that's not going to happen in 1 year. But it actually did. I had all of those things when I was 24. I manifested all of that, right? So I'm married now. I have a child, and I'm thinking everything should be perfect, right? But it wasn't. Actually, during that time I was single, I had to escape from like this crazy date I was on. I had to jump out of my balcony. I was on the second floor. So I had hurt my back and I had pain medicine in my cabinet that I had never took. But when I was pregnant, I couldn't, drink or anything like that. So we're fine. I'm starting to, after my baby comes, I'm starting to feel like really down, because you have to imagine I go from being a party girl 100 miles an hour to housewife. Like, I'm not going out anymore. I'm not drinking. I'm not doing anything. But I didn't realize that I was actually numbing my emotions all that time with alcohol. So I didn't
Okay.
realize that, right? And so now I'm going into my new life as a mom, and I'm wanting to show up. I want to do all these things. So I had back pain. So I started taking the medicine. It was fine while I was getting prescriptions for them. And I think nothing of it, because you don't usually think anything of it when your doctor prescribes them to you, right? And
Mhm.
then it's like over time, I was taking more and more of them just so I could get up and do all the things for my kids and stuff. So by the time I had my son, my third child, I had postpartum depression so bad that it was like I just wanted to be done with this life. I remember hearing in my mind, like, the kids will do better without you. Like, you should just jump out the window and leave. I remember hearing that out of my mouth. And my husband's not understanding. He's still young, right? He's thinking that I'm supposed to be performing like his mom does, right? Like, taking care of all these things. And I don't know how to do none of this stuff. I'm still trying to figure it out with all these kids. And so we just kept fighting. And we had all these we couldn't really communicate. It was just a lot going on. And I remember driving to the railroad tracks, and I told my friend, it's over. I'm done. Like, I really was. And she's like, you need to come hit this blunt real quick, girl. Like, you are tripping. And I was like, why? She goes, you have everything you've ever asked for, but you have a life that women would kill to have, and you can't even see it. Like, you need to get it together. And I remember when she said that to me, I was like, she's really right though. Like, I do have everything I've ever asked for. God's given me everything. I've manifested things. Like, I've done all the things. Like, I vowed to myself that day I would never feel that low again. And so I tried to go to therapy, but by the third therapy session, I was like giving her advice. And I'm like, okay, this is like, I'm paying you, girl. I don't care about your mom and all this stuff. Anyway, so I was like, that's not working. And I found that the religion I was studying was not fitting with my life and what I really, really believed, but spirituality felt better for me. So my just direct connection to God just felt better for me. And then I started reading these books that just made more sense
So
to me.
wait a minute. Let me ask you this. The therapist that
Mhm,
you were seeing,
mhm.
was she a therapist that you had gotten with your insurance, or was this spiritual counseling?
I
What type of
paid
counseling
I paid for it out of my pocket. Like I found somebody in the book. Like I went through to find therapists. I think it was one of those, like it was $362, $372 a month. That's what I was supposed to be paying. So
No, I was only asking because I know some therapists, they provide spiritual or counselors, they provide spiritual and in the natural. So that's why I was just asking you that.
no, I don't know. We didn't get that far, girl. She started talking about her life. I don't know what's going on with that. I don't know. But I started reading books and I read this book from Eckhart Tolle, and um at this point I'm doing all the spiritual work, but I'm still taking the pills every day to do the things, for my kids. I'm showing up, I'm doing bake sales, I'm sewing costumes, like I'm showing up physically in my world, but emotionally I'm empty, I'm void, right? I'm like numbed out. I'm not there. I'm not present with my family at this point. But I'm still trying to do the work. Like I've always tried to do the work. So I'm trying to do the work. I'm learning about spirituality. I'm learning about how my brain is working. So I'm starting to understand that like I'm not my thoughts. My thoughts are not my own. They're actually like I'm observing my thoughts, which changed the game for me. So it actually made me realize that I have this negative voice in my mind every day saying nasty things to me. And when I realized that I was observing them, I could start to quiet that voice. So as I did that, I realized that I've got to stop taking these medicines, right? So I tried to quit and I couldn't do it. And then my doctor was like, it's been some years now. I don't think you really need these, you need to just, we're going to take you off of them. And I was just thinking, oh, no biggie. Because at this point, I didn't think I had a problem really. And it wasn't until he took them away that it was like, okay, like now I'm having to find somewhere to get them because I can't not withdraw. I have 3 children. Like I can't be laid up in the bed. You know what I mean? Like that was that was what I was thinking. And it was so difficult to get off of those pills without causing a scene. I never wanted my kids to experience that. It was all a secret. I kept it from everyone. My husband didn't know, nobody knew. And it's crazy how much housewives or wives, we have a lot of responsibilities. And even back in the day, they were like, mommy's little helper. The pills were like another Quaalude. It was like something that was like a quiet, numbing sensation for moms to just continue to keep going. So it's and then even some housewives drink wine every day. It's just something. It's always something, right? That we use to numb out and just bang it out, do the things that we are responsible for. But that just really came crashing down for me because one day I just remember I was in the car with my children and I remember blinking really long time and I opened my eyes and I was like, this is not feeling normal. I'm not feeling normal. I'm feeling sad. And then I remember my daughter asked me, what was my first word? And she was so excited. And I'm like, oh, that's an easy one. I could not remember. I could not remember because I wasn't there. I was there, but I wasn't there. And that broke my heart. And I'm like, I don't care what I have to do. I'm not going to do this. And so I'm pushing through. I'm trying every day to try something different. And I remember me and my cousin were talking about, sobriety together. And during COVID shut down. And this was like a really bad time because now we're stuck in the house, right? And that year I lost my cousin that I was talking about getting sober with. I lost her during COVID. Um, so that really broke me and I went down spiral, right? So at that point, I'm like, I shut off my social media. I shut it off. I just spiraled so low. And then I remember like maybe I was in my car and I heard one of those things on the radio, like, if you need help with opiates, like your love, God loves you. I don't remember what it was on the radio, but I just remember pulling over and I just started crying and I called the number. I'm like, yes, yes, right. I'm telling the lady on the phone, like, yes, I'll take the help. And she's like, credit card or insurance? Like she had like there was no empathy in her voice at all. And I'm thinking, oh, I don't have insurance. She's like, oh yeah, yeah, we can't take you. I was like, oh, okay, all right. So I left, but that was the beginning of like me saying, you know what, I do need help. And so I told my husband like everything that had been happening, like, I've been buying them. There's just like, I really need help and I need you to support me in this. Like, I'm going to go somewhere. I'm going to figure this out, you know? And so in my mind, I always told myself like I wasn't like other addicts. You know, I'm like, not that bad, you know. I'm still doing all the things. I still have a great job. I'm still taking care of my kids. I'm starting a business. Like no one would ever know, right? But when I finally went to detox, I checked myself into a 7-day detox. And when I got there, I was there with everybody's the same, you know, like you're a heroin addict, you're an alcoholic, like everybody's there, right? And so the illusion that I was different really faded away very quickly when I was there because I realized, no, I'm here with them, you know? The only difference between them and I is probably our friend group, our circumstances, right? Our childhood trauma, like whatever the case may be, but there's very small nuances between them and I. I'm not better than them. And so that's what made me realize, like, you've got to stick this out. Like, it's not an option. You've got to get better. And so I went 7 days and I came out and I really started putting my head in the books that I had already been reading. But now that I was like clear headed, I can take them. I can, you know, start actually following along. And I did
So
that.
wait a minute. When you
Mhm.
went to the place, what are some techniques that they use to help you through it? Because maybe somebody is watching and they're going through it and they have
Oh, when
questions.
they didn't give us anything there. I mean, it was a detox. That's it. I actually took some vitamins that I had found. I had gone to a neuropathic doctor, and he gave me like different vitamin regimen to take. So I brought those with me up there, but there wasn't anything. There was a medicine that they could give you that I just refused to take. I said, I'm not going to do that. I watch intervention. I'm not doing that stuff, you know. Like I told you, I thought I was better than them. I thought I didn't need it. So I left, and my life, when I got back home, my life was the same. I didn't have any coping skills. I hadn't healed any of my trauma, really, like a lot of it, you know. And so I relapsed again. But it wasn't that long this time because I realized that I needed to do something different. I remember calling my friend and she goes, friend, you know, because she stopped drinking some years back. And she said, I take the medicine. I've been taking the medicine. And I go, it's like when she told me it's okay to take the medicine, like just take it, you know? And I remember feeling really a lot of relief, like, okay, maybe I do need the medicine. And so I went and I took the Suboxone that they give you for like opiate abuse or whatever. And so I took that. But as I took that medicine, I really started getting into my craft. And so that's when I learned how to reprogram my subconscious mind, how to stop being in the past and living in my present moment so that I wasn't living in my depression or my anxiety. I healed a lot of my trauma that I had from my childhood. And so I did a lot of this work on my own. And as I did that, I started realizing that my childhood had a lot to do with the reason why me and my husband were arguing because we were actually presenting with our defense mechanisms with one another. And so as we did that, I started to like stand my ground and bring up some of the words I was learning. And my husband's like, what are you talking about? Like, but then, you know, once you change, people can't argue by themselves, you know? And so then he started reacting differently to me because I wasn't arguing anymore. And so now he's like, okay, well, what is she studying? And then I started finding him like reading some of the things I used to read, and he'll be like, have you ever read that book before? And I'm like, oh, the one I tried to get you to read like 4 years ago? Yeah, yeah, I ever read it. And so literally we changed our lives, and I was able to pull myself out of that depression. I don't have a need for any pills. I'm not depressed. I'm thriving. My husband and my relationship is great.
That's
My
great.
children and my relationship is great. And I really trust in God. I trust in my ability to create my own reality. And I trust that whatever I ask from God, it is my birthright to have. And that if I ask for it, He's going to provide it for me equal or better. Right. And so if it doesn't go my way, it's like, that means He got better. Like I'm not even tripping right now. So I just really, it was a lot of my trust, and then a lot of you also have to do the work, right? Like manifestation and prayer is not just about waiting. It's about, okay, I'm telling God what I want. And now I have to put one foot in front of the other and listen to the directions from my higher self every day. Because if you listen, you always have two voices, the one that tells you to sleep in and the one that tells you to get up and work out, right? It's like, so you follow the one that tells you to work out. It knows your path. I truly believe that is our soul. And
And
our
why you
soul,
have to bring up workout?
girl, because that's what I hear.
Well,
Work
I've
out and
been
meditate.
I've been listening to the other one. So why you have to bring out workout? No, I'm just playing.
It is, girl, you know it. So yeah, those tools I learned is changed my life, and that's what I now teach other women to do. So that's my story. I mean, obviously there's more, but that's my short version of my story.
That's amazing, and you seem so strong to get through all of that, and to have your husband to support you. That's great.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't have that. A lot of people don't have a support team when they're going through things. Whether they need a husband, I mean, sometimes you have a husband that's there that supports you. Sometimes a husband doesn't support you, or it may be other family members that you do have, but they're not supportive. So I think that's great that you had your husband to support you through all that, and that you guys are thriving as a family. So congratulations to you.
Thank you.
And how many years you been married? How
15?
many years? 15 years. That's good.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
right.
I might have to bring you back for the couples topic.
I'm so down for that. I can do that. We can do crazy guys. I mean, I got stories for days, but that was the that was the one part of my life that yeah.
We're gonna have a couples topic later on, so might have to bring you back for that.
Yeah. Can I say one thing?
Yes, you
It's
can.
just for the women that are listening, and if you are struggling with some kind of like substance abuse, I think especially for those of us that have like quiet addictions, right? I found that alcohol was messy, but pills were so quiet. Like it's quiet, it's personal, no one has to know. And I think there's a lot of women and men, I'm sure, but women like mothers that struggle with that in secret because it is something that you can do secretly. But I just want you to know that there is a way out and you don't have to sacrifice your motherhood. You don't have to sacrifice your relationship. And you can actually start taking baby steps even before you quit. It's not, you don't have to wait until you quit to start learning how to, control your thoughts and your emotions to help you to actually get rid of all that stuff that make you start taking them in the first place. So it is possible to remove childhood trauma. So just keep working at it. And that is exactly what we do. And I definitely could help you with that. I do actually have I have meditations, but one thing I wanted to offer here is when you're going through this, you need like self-care. And that means like mental and emotional. And so I created like a self-care tracker that actually has places for you to like tick the boxes each day. And then each section, there's a video that you can watch to give you instructions on each section on how to do it in a nice and easy way to, incorporate into your life. And so that is something that I'll offer to you guys. And just give you the link below or something. I'm not sure. But yeah.
You can actually tell them the link. We can also add it on as well, so they can have it in the comment section if you want to do it that way.
I don't know if I can. It's like a backlink, so it's okay. I think I know it. So I can. I think I know it. It's,
Or they can actually follow you want to give them your social media
sure.
pages,
Okay.
and they can maybe inbox you.
Okay, that's fine. All right. So if you want that, you can DM me at m.me/chat with Chanel, and that's on Facebook Messenger, and that'll go right to my DMs. That's a way you can get that. And you can just DM me the word tracker and I'll know exactly where you're coming from and what you need. So
Okay, great. So you guys got it. All right. So I have two questions, but you have to answer them the purpose way.
okay.
Okay. So the first question, if you can go anywhere in the world, where would you go?
Is there for any reason or just
Just a
anywhere?
vacation.
Oh, okay. I've always wanted to go to Fiji.
Really? What's the reason?
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Then there's our people are there. We've got beautiful waterfalls and the beaches and the views. I want to go there so bad.
Okay. And what is one book that you read that was very helpful to you that you think it may help somebody else
You already know.
watch?
So the book that changed my life was Awakening to Your Life's Purpose. It's A New Earth. It's written by Eckhart Tolle, and that's the book that teaches you about like your brain and identities so you can understand why you're hearing those thoughts and how to start to drown them out, which is really a game changer.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you for that. And can they get that book like on Amazon or something?
Yeah, anywhere. I can also provide you that link if you want later on as well.
Okay, perfect. All right, audience. So we do appreciation Miss Chanel Caldwell for coming on with us, our special guest today. I pray that someone, whoever's out there that is struggling with addiction, I pray that this has helped you in more than one way. I pray that you continue to ask God to help you to heal from childhood trauma, adult trauma, wherever that trauma may be coming from. We are all dealing with something. Please know that you are not alone. This is a safe space. This is a no judgment zone. And this is where we come together to love on each other, to share our testimonies, and to help each other get through it. So remember, your pain is only pain until you discover your purpose and start your healing process. I will see you guys next Monday. Bye.